a podcast called Three Deep South. We're a college football podcast. Unfortunately, we are in the very last week of the regular season outside of the Army Navy game. This is a special Thanksgiving episode. We're doing it on Wednesday because, as you know, everyone should know, Thanksgiving's tomorrow. So we're going to start off with a what are we thankful for? It's not going to be super long because we do have quite a bit to get to eventually. Um, but it's something that we can, kind of open up with for Thanksgiving. What, Justin? Let's start you out. I'm trying to get all these pop-ups off my laptop. To
No, you're good,
I
man.
updated my
Yeah,
laptop and now I have all kinds.
I got you. So I feel like I don't know. I try to think because we do this in my family too, and it's an every year thing. And I feel kind of like the cheap way out is like, oh, I'm thankful for family, or like I'm thankful for the Lord Jesus Christ, or like I'm thankful for friends and like my job, or like whatever. And sometimes I'll kind of say like what I'm thankful for that year. Like last year, my parents helped me move into my house, so that was kind of something that I was thankful for. But I try to do something different because I think all of those things are just very common to say. Um, so I mean, really, man, I guess I'm thankful for the opportunity to do something like this, and that's very broad because if I was an introvert that didn't like to talk, um, then I probably wouldn't be doing this. If you wouldn't have given me the opportunity, then I wouldn't be able to do this. If college football wasn't so, well sought after and kind of looked at as a regard of like, it's something, it's one of the only things in maybe the world that people are watching me and you, who are just two random people from Arkansas. One person likes Arkansas in the SEC, the other person likes, Ohio State in the Big Ten. People want to just listen to us give our opinions, and they don't mean jack shit on the national standpoint. It's just two people that like giving their opinions on college football. So for me, man, it would probably be this podcast and kind of everything that like surrounds itself with the podcast.
I can agree with that. That's what I was kind of leaning towards. Is I'm very thankful for the podcast, just the opportunity to put an opinion out there because as I've learned, because we do this
Mm-hmm.
podcast, everyone's got an opinion.
Oh
And no
yeah,
matter how smart they think they are, they're not
yeah,
brave enough to get in front of a camera. So I'm very thankful
no,
for my co-host. I'm very thankful for the TikTok commenters. I'm very thankful for any viewers we get. I'm very thankful for my family. Like you said, um, I'm very thankful for college football. I think that was a very good point. In a lot of countries and a lot of places around the world, college athletics is not important. I'm kind of on that UK TikTok algorithm sometimes, and
yeah,
they talk about how crazy it is that college football and just college athletics in general are as widely celebrated as they are in this country, and I'm very thankful for that because it gives us a sense of, especially living in the state of Arkansas, being an Arkansas fan. It gives me a sense of like local pride and state pride whenever we are good.
yeah,
And honestly, the pros, I just don't have connection. I love the Dallas Cowboys, but
yeah,
I would let the Dallas Cowboys lose 10 seasons in a row every game if Arkansas would win one national title.
yeah,
So, yeah, I'm very thankful for that. I'm also very thankful for Rivalry Week. We're about to get
for
into that.
sure.
Before we get into Rivalry Week, outside of, I think there's two big rivalries on Rivalry Week that everyone talks about. They
Yeah,
talk about the game, they talk about Michigan, Ohio State, they talk about the Iron Bowl.
yeah,
Um, Obviously Auburn isn't up this year, and
yeah,
Alabama and Auburn doesn't necessarily have the implications that the game's going to have, especially if Michigan wins. Um, but they're two great rivalries and two great conferences. But what are some maybe less looked at rivalries? They don't have to necessarily be a rivalry week rivalry, but what are some rivalries that you look at that you make sure you watch every year, no matter who it is?
Um, and this is as of late, probably over the last 2 years. I think Georgia and Georgia Tech has kind of became that like watch that game. Obviously, the Egg Bowl is a big one. I would say, that's kind of a rivalry type game. It's really weird because like rivalry week has kind of been the same, but now that we have these bigger conferences, like you have games that aren't really like LSU Oklahoma. Like that's not a rivalry. That's not anywhere close
Missouri,
to a
Arkansas.
rivalry. Yeah, I mean Missouri Arkansas is a good rivalry game, I would say, but like it's not like I would rather see LSU Arkansas this week than Missouri Arkansas. And I think we had it in our group chat that they're supposed to be bringing that back. That's one that's like historic. There's a trophy involved, all that. Another big one that a lot of people don't talk about, and I don't really know too much about it before they came into the Big Ten, but Oregon, Washington. If you remember 2 years ago, Washington beat Oregon 2 times to pretty much keep Oregon out of the playoffs. And that's a game this year that's at Washington, which is before Ohio State beat them at Washington. They hadn't had a loss almost as long as Georgia hasn't had a loss in a home standpoint in their home stadium. That's a big one. I mean, other than that, like I guess Notre Dame, USC, but they play that earlier in the season. So there's kind of some other rivalries that kind of get forgotten about. I don't want to say forgotten about, but kind of forgotten around this time of season just because they don't play it right now. Like
Right.
Texas to Oklahoma, like that's super early in the season, and I get it. Like I would never change that, but I'm trying to. There's really not any too big of rivalries that I would say are relevant year in and year out, like kind of the ones that I named and the ones that you've already named.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorites are the weird ones, right? Louisville,
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky. Why is Louisville and Kentucky fist fighting? I love that. The Egg Bowl is the weirdest game ever. I like West Virginia, Pitt. That's one of my favorites that I make sure to watch. Arkansas, LSU, obviously. But one that I used to watch and even playing the video game and all this that I've always kind of got excited for is USC and UCLA in the Rose Bowl whenever they play in the Rose Bowl. I love that game, especially when they're both good. But one that is my favorite that we have not seen since Oklahoma joined the SEC, one that, it was always the night game. It was always weird. And it was one that Oklahoma won most of the time. But whenever they didn't win, it was like, what happened? Bedlam. Bedlam was so fun to me. I loved watching Bedlam. I loved watching Oklahoma State whenever they were good. They would wear a blackout. The whole stadium would be blacked out. It would be, Saturday night. It was just so fun to me. But yeah, I love those underrated rivalries too. And I don't hate it because the game is everything it's built up to be most of the time. The Iron Bowl most of the time is weird and is built up to what it's supposed to be. But like I've always enjoyed the Egg Bowl, Bedlam, USC, UCLA, Arkansas, LSU. You know what I mean? Like I love rivalry. It's my favorite time of the year. This is like Christmas to me, because we're probably going to see a fist fight. We're going to see a fist fight this weekend.
How many flag plants do you think?
At least 3. At least we got to. Surely, if Ohio State wins, surely we see one there.
You would think. I don't care if we do or not.
I don't know. If I was an Ohio State fan, I would plant the flag. I would tear down the banner for one. The Michigan club.
Yeah.
I would tear that down. Because Ohio State's going to run out first. I would tear that down, and then I'm planting my flag if we win. Just off of
I definitely agree. And there's part of me, like the little cartoons when you have 2 things on your shoulder, and like one's telling you the one thing and one's telling you the other. Like part of me is like, plant that flag. I want to like throw hands in the locker room, which I think there's going to be hands thrown in the tunnel regardless. The only thing about the flag, like part of me is like, plant the flag. Like I want one of our corners to do it, IGB to do it, one of our loudmouth Jeremiah to do it, somebody like that like has kind of been, they chirp, but they kind of let the field kind of say what they do, if that makes sense. But then part of me is like, don't plant the flag. walk off as a winner and just be like, hey, listen, you got us for 4 years, but it's back to reality now. Like, we were the big brother for 10 years. You got your licks in. Did it take cheating 1 or 2 of those years? For sure. But we're back now, and, let's keep it pushing. And, like, we take their playoff hopes, just pull it from them.
And I think that will wind up being a big deal. Is this game is a
Yeah.
playoff game for Michigan, and
Yes.
looking at Michigan, their previous week, they had their best offensive performance of the year. Bryce Underwood kind of looked like how he was billed. He moved, he thrown. Now they weren't playing Ohio State caliber team, but it gave me a little bit of hope for Michigan in this game, because if you remember, I picked Michigan to finish second in the Big Ten. Now we're not going to talk about my first pick. We're not going to talk about who I picked to finish first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picked Michigan to finish second, and for that to happen, they have to win this game. And for them to have a playoff chance, they have to win this game. I think if you can get Bryce Underwood moving, I don't want to see Bryce Underwood stand in the pocket. I don't want to see that against Oklahoma, against USC. The games that we've seen Michigan lose, Bryce Underwood has not been a threat in the run game. You have to move Bryce Underwood. You have to. Ohio State's going to be able to get pressure. They got one of the best defensive fronts in the fucking country. Oh, sorry. I'm going to try to limit my cussing. I really am. But I'm amped up. Ohio State's got one of the best front sevens in the country. They're going to be able to get pressure on you. You have to move Bryce Underwood. As far as Michigan's defense, I don't think this is a typical Michigan defense. So you're going to have to force turnovers, and you're going to have to get pressure. And I don't think that's a foregone conclusion like it has been in previous years in this game. What does Ohio State have to do to win, Justin?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. The team up north, which is, I will say the name all the way up until this week. The team up north, which is who Ohio State is playing. That's what we refer them to. Some people say it's petty that we mark out the M's and we don't even call them by name. And, like, you just have to understand this is, like, and you don't have to agree with me. Look it up. Look it up on ChatGPT. Look it up on Google. Look up what is the biggest rivalry in all of sports in North America, and it is going to say the game, Ohio State against the team up north. It's been like that forever. You had the 10-year war. I think they're the only rivalry that has played every year since like 1890 something. The Iron Bowl has been all around for a long time, but they had a hiatus where, like, their governor of Alabama had to come in and kind of force them to play. What I'm going to say about this game, from what I've heard, and I feel stupid saying this just because, like, we're not tapped in besides, like, the little podcasts that I listen to. And I shouldn't call them little. Like, they're pretty substantial podcasts. Everybody's big question is Jeremiah and Carnell going to play? Apparently today, which Jeremiah went on the Caleb Downs podcast and said that he was playing for sure. Like, he's definitely playing. Apparently today, Carnell and Jeremiah didn't practice in anything except for individual drills. So, like, route running and stuff like that. They didn't practice in team. They didn't practice any of that. No contact, not even 7-on-7, nothing. My question is one, I'm okay. If we get one of them back, I feel comfortable about winning the game. I feel comfortable about making a deep playoff run. If we get both of them back, I don't see a team in the country that really is going to test us. If we don't get either one of them back, I don't know what I'm going to do. That all my confidence goes out the window. I don't know if they're going to play decoy for Carnell. The thing that worries me about Carnell is he's been battling with Achilles soreness, which some people are like, okay, that makes sense. Like, if it's just sore, it's fine. The thing that worries me is a few years ago, Jackson Smith-Njigba messed up his hamstring, kind of waited 2 or 3 weeks, came back, and then he kind of tweaked it again, and then he sat out for the rest of the season. Before the team up north game, he just kind of said, I'm done. I'm not playing. The thing that worries me is Carnell has the same agent as Jackson Smith-Njigba did. Now I'm not like that's all like there's not even smoke to that. There's not any. That's just like my own personal like anxiety kind of tapping in because obviously if he was going to be done, why would he be practicing? I think that's a big thing. We need our top two receivers. That allows our run game to get going. The biggest thing I'm going to watch and the biggest thing people should watch is Mason, you would probably agree. Bryce Underwood is a top 5 athlete-wise quarterback in the country. You would put him, Trinidad Shameless in there. You would probably put maybe John Mateer, but that's kind of tough. I mean, I don't know. I would put him in the top 10 for sure, but Damon Williams from Washington is kind of like that same way. Like, I'm not saying they're just all-out great passers, but athletic-wise, there's something there to be said. The thing that I'm going to be watching all game is Arvell Reese versus Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood's been extremely loud about beating Ohio State, never losing to them again, blah, blah. You've never seen a freshman like me. Arvell Reese is from Ohio. He grew up in Ohio, right down the road. His head coach was Ted Ginn. I think if Arvell Reese has a crazy game, kind of like he was having at the beginning of the season, where he has 2 sacks and he puts something on film that you're just like, oh my God. I mean, that might solidify him as a number 1 overall pick, or at least a top 5 pick. The biggest thing that I'm going to say that if Ryan Day takes this game and tries to call the offense, I think I don't know. I don't want to say we're going to lose, but it's not going to look good. But
it's going to look like
if
that.
he – yeah, that's how he does this game. If he lets people do what they need to do, if we get our 2 receivers back, I'm not worried at all. If we don't get our 2 receivers back, I'm more worried than anything. I already have anxiety about the game. It's crazy. But I also have more trust in Matt Patricia than I did in Jim Knowles. Just because, like, Jim Knowles was a great coordinator, except in big games until it came to the playoffs. He never made the team up north punt the ball in the 4th quarter over the last 3 years that they played. If he played in a top 10 matchup, he was one of those big-time bend, don't break type defenses where he would give up 400 yards and 35 points. And it's like, that's not what you would consider a top defensive coordinator. So I have a lot of trust in our defense. I just want everybody to be healthy on their side, on our side. Like, I don't know, man. I'm ramped up for this game. I'm ready for it to be here. I don't want to wish the days away because I know we have big games like the Egg Bowl and stuff like that on Friday. But, like, I'm ready for that game.
Buddy.
Yeah, I'm ready for that game to get here. And, like, once the game kicks off, I'll be, yelling at the TV and stuff. But up until the game, like, I'm in shambles, dude. I don't like it.
So, one more thing we have to mention before we make our pick, which I'm pretty confident I know who Justin's picking.
Yeah.
It is snowing in Michigan as of right now.
Yeah.
And it's apparently going to be snowing game time. With an injured Ohio State wide receiver core, how does that maybe have an effect on the game plan?
I think here's what I'm going to say. I think it definitely does, but I don't think it has as much effect on the game plan as much if it was raining. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. I feel like snow is a lot easier to play in than rain. And since they've been out there 2 wide receivers anyways, it's not like they got hurt like today and it's all going to be in shambles. Like, they're going to kind of know. And I love Ryan Day as our coach, but I hate him when it comes to injuries because, like, he's done some stupid stuff with injuries. Like, I think it was 2 years ago we had a running back that tore his ACL. And for the whole season, Ryan Day was like, yeah, he's working to get back. It's day to day. And he wasn't – like, he was our second-string running back behind Travion. And it's like, dude, just tell us he tore his ACL. Like, what does it matter? And it really annoys me. Like, this situation, I understand it because it's like they're going to have to prepare for those wide receivers regardless, and then they get to the game, and the game plan might be different. I definitely worry about it snowing just because of over the last 4 years, how have they beat us? They beat us in the trenches, running the ball, and big time, not trick plays, but plays that they don't typically run. Obviously, for our style of offense, no snow, sunshine, 65 degrees would be the best outcome. But our team has played in the cold before. I mean, so I I don't know, man. It really just depends. It depends on Ryan Day, and I might come on here Sunday and say fire him. I don't want him to be there anymore. I don't want him. I have no care for him in the world. Or I might get on here and say build a statue of Ryan Day at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, because I was like that last year. I'm so glad we didn't do the podcast last year because I was ready to can him. I said we should play every backup in the Tennessee game, lose it on purpose, hire somebody else. I was thinking of coaches we could hire. I mean, I was thinking of everything. And then now I'm acting like he's the greatest coach of all time, which this is something that could make him pole vault him to that thing because, I mean, people still forget Kirby Smart has an Alabama problem.
Yeah.
Like he does. So it's like these good coaches still have a problem. Is Ryan Day going to be able to get that monkey off of his back? And we fired coaches for less. John Cooper, back in the 90s, he wasn't making playoff runs, but if they had a 12-team playoff, he would be in the playoff every year. He was winning 10 games every single year, and he was 1-5 against the team up north. They canned his ass. Because that's how much the game means here. Like, it's different. It's different, bro.
So who are you picking?
I'm picking Ohio State.
Okay. I've been flipping on this all year. I've been flipping on it.
Yeah.
After the first month, I was like, oh, Ohio State's probably going to kill them.
Yeah.
And then Michigan started playing better and playing better and playing better. But for the sake of chaos, I do want Michigan to win this game just to see what Justin says on Sunday.
Makes sense.
Just to see.
Makes sense.
Totally I think Ohio State wins the game. I do think that it is – I think there'll be a pucker moment. I do. I do think there'll be a pucker moment where it's like, how do we go from here? Maybe that's at halftime. Maybe that's in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I think there will be a moment where every Ohio State fan's like, oh, God, here we go again. I think this year they prevail. And I just think they're the better team. I just think they're the better team. And I know that hasn't mattered the last 4 years. I just got a feeling. I feel like Ohio State's going to win this game. There's a lot of things going against Ohio State, and I do feel like they come out on top. That being said, I would not be surprised if this is a 7-6 game going in the fourth quarter and Michigan wins 10-6. I would not be surprised. But let's move on to the Friday games. Justin can just give unbiased, just straight takes on these. Ole Miss at Mississippi State. This could be Lane's last game as an Ole Miss Rebel.
Yeah.
Or this could just be another game as a Lane Kiffin could be the coach next year. Who knows? I have my own personal opinions on that. I don't think he's staying, but I've heard all kinds of reports. What does Mississippi State have to do to win? But go ahead with your question. Sorry.
No. So I'm not going to drag this out. I mean, I hope not. I don't really care how long we go tonight. But why is Lane Kiffin so sought after? Like, he's controlling the country right now when it comes to coaching hires. Mason, don't get me wrong. Has he ever made it to the playoffs?
Not as a head coach, no.
Okay, so my whole question is like LSU's fighting for him, Ole Miss is fighting for him, and Florida's fighting for him. Those are probably the three teams in the country that could be juggernaut-type programs. Not Ole Miss. LSU and Florida could definitely be juggernauts in the country because they have been before, and they're fighting over Lane Kiffin. And I know that he's a good head coach, but at the same time, like, he's also lost games that he wasn't supposed to lose that kept him out of the playoffs. And it's I understand why they're fighting for him to an extent, but I think they could go out and get somebody like Oregon's offensive coordinator or Tulane's head coach and pay a lot less money and put more into the program. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it and kind of don't like Ole Miss to an extent. But but it just seems like he's highly overrated for what he's produced in the 4 years that he's been there.
Well, historically, Ole Miss isn't a program that would ever be in this conversation. Historically, this Egg
Mm-hmm.
Bowl is for bowl eligibility. I
Yeah.
mean, so you see an Ole Miss program that I'm not going to say started from the bottom because whenever he got there, they had some successful type of years,
Yeah.
but they haven't seen sustained success like they have with Lane Kiffin, which is 8, 9,
Yeah.
10 wins. So I think that's a big deal of it, and I think LSU and Florida are of the belief that if you see what he does at Ole Miss, he can do more here because of I don't necessarily even agree that they're better jobs now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because of the new at Florida seems to be a mess. LSU is kind of a machine that runs itself. But we'll see. But let's
But
talk about this game. Mississippi State
yeah,
has
yeah,
to win
for
this
sure.
game for bowl eligibility. This
Yep.
game is a playoff game for Ole Miss too. Ole Miss has to win. They're in
Yeah.
Starkville. I don't know why they're playing this game at 11 a.m. This is a night game. This is a night game. Why
Yeah.
are we playing this at 11 a.m.? I'll never know. The night game instead is Texas A&M. Okay, but the Egg Bowl is a night game. I don't understand why they're playing at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
But I think that plays to Ole Miss. Mississippi State's going to have this is all they have left. I mean, if they win this game, they go to a bowl. But this is Mississippi State's Super Bowl. This would probably buy Jeff Lebby a lot of grace, and it would just be the Egg Bowl thing to do for Lane Kiffin's last game to go into Starkville and lose to Mississippi State. What Mississippi State has to do is something that we have not seen Ole Miss really have trouble with. You have to stop Ole Miss from being on schedule. You have to get pressure on Trinidad. Anyone can score on Ole Miss. We've seen that time and time again.
Yeah.
But can you keep pace with Ole Miss? Can you keep scoring with Ole Miss? I don't know that Mississippi State can. We saw them over and over and over again either have to come back or lose leads or just kind of shoot themselves in the foot. But this is the Egg Bowl. You never know. I think this is going to be a blowout in a sense. I don't know if it's going to be like a 40-point blowout, but I think this is going to be a controlled win for Ole Miss because I don't think Mississippi State can keep pace going forward. I really don't. The spread on it's 7.5. I like that spread for Ole Miss if I was betting. I'm not going to gamble on it though. I'm not going to gamble on it.
I think if it was a night game, I would be more certain. I would be like, yeah, that's my upset of the week. But I almost do think this is upset worthy because here's the thing. Mississippi State has nothing to lose. Do they really care about going to some shoebox bowl? I mean, maybe, but most likely not. They're going to throw out everything that they can, and Lane Kiffin is going to coach not to lose. That's the whole thing about it. That's what is super kind of weird about these last games of rivalry week is because, yeah, you want to win the game, but you also don't want to put Trinidad Shameless in a position to where he's throwing the ball 45 times and might throw an interception or 2 or 3, and the next thing you know, you're in a triple overtime game against a team that has all the confidence in the world going into overtime. I think with all the distractions around the program right now, that does not help. That does not help Ole Miss at all.
Can I agree with that?
I do like Ole Miss, but their defense is super fraudulent. They played a little better last week, but I don't know, man. I'm at a pickle with that. I want to say I want Mississippi State to win because I want carnage, just like you do. I want Mississippi State to win. So yeah, I'll die on the hill. I think Mississippi State's going to win. I think Ole Miss has too much around them. Lane Kiffin is kind of like the James Franklin of the SEC. He struggles in times that he's not supposed to, and it seems like he's going to choke away again a game this year because he squeaked a lot of games out that last year and the year before he choked away. Is this the game that he's going to choke away and they're not going to get into the playoffs? Because the thing is if they lose this game, do they deserve to get into the playoffs? I mean,
sorry, I muted my mic.
no,
I would say
you're
no.
good. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think so either. You can see that they're right on the crest of like maybe being in, maybe being out. But I just think if they were a more complete team and they just had a blunder, okay, whatever, they get in. But you can see glaring issues with Ole Miss of the defensive side of the ball. Their quarterback can be really good, but can be very, very problematic too. I think if they lose this game, they're out. And Mississippi State's playing for a bowl game. So I'm going to take Mississippi State. I think it's going to be a nail biter. I wish this game was at night on Friday. This should be a game that you fall asleep during halftime, but then you wake right back up because you're stuffed from eating Thanksgiving leftovers, and your girlfriend or your fiance got you out of the house super early for Friday morning to go Black Friday shopping, and then you get home, you got the pregame, and then this is just coming on at night. But I don't know why. I'm with you. Like, I don't know why this game is on at 11 a.m.
So this is a question I guess I have to ask. Let's say Alabama wins, but Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say they win, they lose the conference championship. Ole Miss loses this game. Is Alabama more deserving than Ole Miss in that scenario?
That's what I mean, man. There's so much. Like, everybody wants to say, like, oh, like if you go to the conference championship, the game doesn't matter if you lose. It's like, okay, but if it doesn't matter, then what's the point in even playing your starters? If it really doesn't matter, say Ohio State beats Michigan and they go to the Big Ten championship, and which they would be guaranteed to be in anyways because they're number 1 seed. But let's just say they were an 8 seed. Sit everybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
Play backups. I don't care about a Big Ten championship at all. And make it known. Don't go in and be like, oh, well, Ohio State lost and they're not as good. No, sit them all. I want backups. I want walk-ons. I don't even want Ryan Day on the sideline. I want it to be known to the country that, hey, Ohio State didn't even play. They sat out. But, like, because that's what you're saying. Like, who cares if Alabama wins? They should get in. And then we're in the same topic that we were last year of like, well, they need to get in because they played a really tough schedule. It's like, I mean, yeah, they did. And people can say like, oh, they played 4 top 10 teams in a row. But it's like, well, I mean, no, they really didn't. Because all those teams are getting bumped down, and it's kind of part of it. Like that's what happens to every school across the country. If you play and you lose and you bump down, like that's because you lost. And I think the committee's doing a really good job because like USC is still in the top 25, even though they lost to Oregon. It's like, well, yeah, but there is like, what do you consider the gap between a number 16 versus a number 17 team? You know what I mean? Instead of just bumping a team like that all the way out, like let's keep them in the top 25 because there's obviously a gap between 8 and 17. Right. But about your question specifically, I don't know who you would put in. I think it really depends on the rest of the country. If BYU beats Texas Tech or Texas, like that's where are you going to get 2 Big 12 teams in? I don't know. I mean, I think,
in my opinion, you would have to.
Yeah, and then you go down the list of like, and here's another thing. What happens if Georgia loses to Georgia Tech? Which we're going to get into that game too. But there's a lot of scenarios where there can be absolute carnage. I mean, Ohio State loses, Georgia loses, Texas A&M loses, Ole Miss loses. What's another ranked matchup? Vanderbilt loses, and then Alabama loses. Like, dude, we just took the whole top 10, and say Oregon loses to Washington, which is very possible. We just took the whole top 10 and just threw it out the window right before we find out who goes to the playoffs.
Right. Oh, I would love that personally. Let's kind of get into the Georgia Tech game. Now, this game is not a game that is played on Georgia Tech's campus. It is played in Atlanta. But you will quickly find out that just because Georgia Tech is in Atlanta and this game is being played at Mercedes-Benz, you will quickly find out that this is not a home field advantage for Georgia Tech. They're essentially playing another road game. This stadium will be filled up with dog fans, and I don't understand Georgia Tech's whole point with this. Now I understand it if you're a 6-6 team and
Yeah.
you get more exposure for it, you maybe get more money because there's more seats. You're a 9-2 team, and if you win this game, you vault yourself up. I guess they're not going to the conference championship either way. But I mean, this is a big win for Georgia Tech if they win. That being said, Georgia Tech over the last month has looked worse than they did. I think in the first
Yeah.
8 weeks, I think they win this game. Haynes King's taken a beating, and I think it's been apparent. I think over the last month, he just hasn't looked like what he did look like, and I think it's from the constant hits. I don't think Georgia Tech's defense is that good. The spread is at 13.5. I think it's going to be closer than that, but I do think Georgia wins, unfortunately, for the Carnage, because that would be hilarious. And this game has no effect on Georgia's conference championship hopes. So this is kind of a no-lose situation for Georgia. No matter what, Georgia can make the playoff in this game, but I think they do win. And I just think Georgia Tech has wore themselves down with their style of play.
Yeah, and I think this is where we're really going to see, is Georgia for real or are they not for real?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the game that shows that. I know they came out last week against Texas and kind of handled business, and everybody's super high on Georgia, which they should be. I mean, they're doing things that at the middle of the season, me nor probably you thought they were going to be doing. Gunnar Stockton looks like an actual quarterback. Obviously, they still have some issues, but the issues aren't as glaring as what they were at the beginning of the season or even the middle of the season. I mean, they just kind of turned it on towards the end of the season. I think it depends on Haynes King. Georgia has had problems with a running type quarterback. They're not as good on the defensive side of the ball. If Georgia Tech can get up, even if it's 10 points, if Georgia Tech can get up on Georgia by just 10 points, they like to slow the game down. And Georgia is not a good enough defense to leave their defense on the field for 28 to 35 minutes for a whole game. It's one of those games where everybody can sit here and be like, oh, Georgia's going to win for sure. They'll cover the spread. And then, I mean, it was a bigger gap last year. And look what they did. They took them to like 9 overtimes. But I'm kind of with you. I think Georgia Tech kind of hit the nitrous a little too early in the season. They played Pitt last week. Haynes King kind of did what he did, but like they just don't look like the same Georgia Tech team that we seen at the beginning of the season. As much as I want a Georgia Tech win, I think I'm going to take Georgia to win, but I think Georgia Tech covers. But I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia Tech takes them to like another 8 overtime game and might win the game, honestly. Right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's talk about – we got 2 more Friday games to talk about. We don't have to spend a lot of time on the last one, but this one is kind of a big one. Texas A&M goes on the road to Austin to play the Texas Longhorns. This is another fueled-up rivalry. This is a weird one because we've seen Texas A&M play bad against bad teams. South Carolina, Arkansas. Let me kind of look at their schedule real quick, and I'll kind of be able to
Dude, they have not – the whole argument of Ohio State hasn't played anybody, I don't think – and you can tell me if I'm wrong because you keep up with the SEC a little bit better than I do. I don't think Texas A&M has played a team that has an above 500 schedule to this point besides Notre Dame at the beginning of the season.
Missouri. Notre Dame and Missouri, and that's it.
Yeah. So this whole bull crap of like, oh, they haven't played anybody in the SEC.
And LSU, sorry. And LSU does have a above 500 record, but barely.
Yeah. But this whole like thing of like, every schedule in the SEC is so much harder. It's like, bro, this schedule is ass. Yeah, and everybody knows it is. It's just we want to point out Arkansas' schedule versus pointing out Texas A&M's schedule.
Arkansas' schedule is a gauntlet, and I hate it. But
yeah, I completely agree.
Texas is by far the best team that they're going to play.
For sure.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that. I think Texas and Notre Dame would be a tight game. So I'm going to say, but I'm not going to say by far, but at this point in the season, Texas is better than Notre Dame was at the point that Texas A&M played them.
For sure.
Um,
Yes.
and I think that that's very problematic for A&M because Arch Manning, whether people want to admit it or not, I know Arch Manning was touted as the Heisman winner and all that. Arch Manning hasn't been that good necessarily. Arch Manning has been getting
Yeah.
better. The Texas
Yeah.
front seven is getting better. Texas has been able to run the ball the last few weeks. Texas A&M, I mean, they struggled against South Carolina, and South Carolina's been dead in the water for,
Yeah.
I mean, basically the whole season. I think this is a very problematic game for Texas A&M. I think Texas wins, and I think they win outright. I think they cover this. I mean, it's 1.5 A&M's way. I think Texas A&M does not. I mean, I'm not going to say they don't stand a chance because they do have the ultimate X factor in Marcel Reed being able to just do weird things. But I don't think it matters. I think Texas is going to control this game. And I think it's going to be heartbreak for A&M, and I'm here for it. I love it. I hate A&M.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're 11-0 good. I don't think that they're
Yeah.
necessarily not a playoff team. I mean, obviously they won the games on their schedule. I don't think they're that good though. I think Texas wins this
Yeah.
one.
Mason, I think this game's going to get sexual. Like
you think Texas is going to beat them that bad?
Yeah. Yeah, I really do. Just because, like, Texas A&M's defense is atrocious, dude. It is so bad. It is not good. Like, and the thing is like Texas, that I think Sark is over the whole bull crap of I can't win big games. And I might be completely talking out of my butt right now, but I think he's got this team believing and saying, if we win this game, we're in the playoffs. I think he truly believes that. And there's a lot of, and the whole media is pushing that. I think a lot of people think if Texas wins, they're in the playoff. I don't think that should be. You lose 3 games and you're out. Sorry, hate to tell you. I know you have big wins, but you can't win against big teams and then lose against bad teams because guess what? This isn't the NFL. That's not how it goes. You can't lose against a Florida and then also be in the playoffs because that makes you an inconsistent team. And if you're that low in the playoffs, you have to win 4 games against top 10 opponents. Anyways, I think it could get real bad just because Texas's defense matches up really well against Texas A&M. I think they have athletic enough linebackers that Marcel Reed has not seen a defense like this when it comes to corralling him in the pocket.
He hasn't seen a defense like this at all. Because Texas's defense is one of the best defenses in the country.
Yes.
I mean, I know we saw them falter against some good teams, but week in and week out, Texas's front seven is giving everyone problems.
Yes. And Texas, and I know he was hurt, but your hand has nothing to do with your runaround ability, and Texas did a really good job at containing John Mateer. I know he was hurt, so I'm not saying like, oh, well, they covered the pass really well against John Mateer. No, I'm saying they covered the run game against John Mateer and his runaround ability. And I think Marcel Reed is a better athlete than John Mateer, but I think Texas has the linebackers to keep it to where, like, he's not – I'm not going to say he's going to be a non-factor, but I could see him having maybe 250 total yards, maybe less. I think this could be like a 35-14 game, 35-17 game, just because I don't feel like Texas A&M has really not just played anybody. They've played teams that are good on the offensive side of the ball, but they haven't played a team that is anywhere close to this on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, anywhere close. Like, I don't see – I mean, Notre Dame, I guess, but Notre Dame at the beginning of the season was a totally different team than they are now. And honestly, if you want me to be honest with you, I think if Notre Dame and Texas A&M played again right now, it would get – I mean, it might be 45-20. It could get that bad just because it's different. And that's where, like, I miss the whole transitive property. I don't like going into that, but once you get into like week 8, you can kind of take little snippets of other teams and kind of compare them and contrast. I'm not saying like, oh, Alabama beat this team and this team beat this team. Not saying that. I'm just saying like you have to take some analytics from the games that are played.
Yeah, I definitely think that is my biggest upset worthy
Yeah.
game of Friday for sure. This last Friday game, and this one has no playoff implications, doesn't have any conference championship implications, but it's between two ranked teams, so we're going to talk about it. Arizona goes to Tempe to play Arizona State. Um, Arizona State surprised me, and so did Arizona this year. I mean, 8-3. I really thought Arizona State was going to take a bigger step back. Um, Unfortunately for Arizona State, this has been a pretty chalk year in the Big 12, which is
Yeah.
very odd. Going into the season, Texas Tech was the favorite, and I mean, we're here in the last week. Texas Tech is number one in the conference, so Arizona State has no chance at the playoff like they did last year. Going into this game, I do think Arizona State is going to win. I think Sam Levitt's not playing. He's hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if there's like an official announcement on it, but I think he's hurt.
Yeah, but my biggest thing with it is Arizona State has just, I mean, they just play the right way, I guess. I mean, they did beat Texas Tech. They beat a decent Iowa State team. They blew the doors off Colorado. I mean, I think that those are all impressive enough wins to give me faith in this. Arizona's 3 losses are to Houston, who I think is pretty good. They lost to BYU, who's pretty good, but they lost to Iowa State. I think that this is a kind of a pick'em game, and I'm rolling with the Sun Devils, I guess.
Mason, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you, buddy. I don't think I've watched a single one of either one of those teams play. Not one.
I've watched Arizona State play a little bit. I've watched Arizona highlights on ESPN, but I have not actually sat down.
I might have watched Arizona State play like at the early point of the season, but it seems like every week there's bigger games on at the same time that they're playing. And then I have YouTube TV on my phone, so a lot of stuff kind of got cut out. So I don't really care who wins, like you said. I mean, it's at Arizona State and it's a night game. So I guess I'm going to go with Arizona State. But I can't give any kind of analytics on that game. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea, honestly. I wish I did. I did a disservice to not knowing about that game specifically. But I will say about the Big 12, I think I would have to go back on your part because I know where I stood. I had Texas A&M or Texas Tech winning the Big 12, and I want to say you had BYU. Did you, or did you?
I had Kansas State.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have said that. I would have said I would have said, yeah, man, I had BYU. Personally,
no, it's okay. I gotta stand on my word because I do have some bad takes.
That is true.
But if you really pay attention, I was spot on some things. So I'm consistent. I can admit my wrongs.
Hey, we both had a lot of bad, and I think this is good to kind of recap because we're at the end of the season. I would say our worst takes, Clemson being number one,
yeah. And Penn State.
But
those are my 2 bad ones.
Yeah, but I think like that is like that was the whole country. So I wouldn't just say like we did that individually. I'm trying to think of a bad take that I had. I guess it would be Oregon. I thought Oregon was going to be bad this year. So that's probably that's probably one of my worst takes. But we did have some good takes. We called LSU. A lot of people were high on LSU.
We called LSU. We called SMU.
Yep.
You called Arkansas. I mean, going 2-10. You were exactly right about that. Unfortunately, for me.
I was right about Texas Tech, which that was kind of like some people had that, some people didn't. I was right about
Tennessee for sure. I said they'd take a step back.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, and I was high on Tennessee. I was super high on Pitt and Baylor, and Pitt's really been somebody that's kind of been that upset darling like I said they were going to be. If you want to, we can get into that game. That's kind of an 11 o'clock. We already talked about the game. On Saturday, you have Miami right on the crest of playoff potential on the road at Pitt. Pitt just upset Georgia Tech and just throttled them. If you want a crazy quarterback to watch, go watch the freshman at Pitt. I mean, the dude's playing out of his mind. He's definitely turnover worthy, but he also has some wow plays. That's an 11 a.m. kick, like I said. I will not be anywhere close to turning that game on. I don't
No,
care if
no,
Ohio
no.
State wins by 70. I'm not going to have the game on. I don't care about the score. Like the only thing I'm going to have on that game on Saturday is I'll watch the highlights that night unless Ohio State loses, and then I might be sitting in this chair, passed out when we start the podcast on Sunday. About that game specifically, I think Pitt throttles Miami.
I think they beat them too.
And then you
I don't
start
like
asking
Miami in the
yourself,
cold.
no. And then you start asking yourself too, well, no, they have that bad loss to Notre Dame. But like aren't they three? Are they 3-loss? Yeah.
They would be 3-loss if they won.
Yeah, they would be 3-loss. So like then you start asking yourself like, what other 3 losses, like a Texas, are you comparing to this 3-loss Pitt team if they end the year with a big win over Georgia Tech and a big win over Miami? They do have a bad loss against Louisville, and they have a decent, I would say it's not a bad loss, but it's not a good loss against Notre Dame. And then who is their other loss to? West Virginia.
Yeah, they lost to West Virginia, which now looking
so
back,
it's like
that was a bad loss. And they lost to Louisville.
Yeah, so that's where you kind of start. Like I think we're going to have a lot of 3-loss teams to where I don't think they're going to put any of them in. I just don't think you can because there's not a 3-loss team that is worthy enough. I would say.
You know what I think?
But I like Pitt.
Likely
I like
if
Pitt in
wins
that
this
game. What's that?
I think if Pitt wins this game, the ACC doesn't get a team in at all.
Yeah, I could see that. Here's the next thing too, which I'm just kind of using this as like because Pitt has went above and beyond, and I think the coach that they have now took over midseason last year, or maybe he took over last year, and midway through last year they kind of started building. If whatever job Lane Kiffin takes, does the other teams go out and look at this Pitt head coach?
I mean, Pat Narduzzi's definitely he's had Pitt growing, so I mean, I would say so. From what I'm hearing, John Sumrall is linked to every job in the SEC right now outside of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I've even heard his name a lot in the Arkansas one. But the report today that Alex Golesh took the job was kind of jumping the gun. That's not a foreshore thing, by the way. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. What do you feel about the game, though? Because I got way off topic with the coaching hire. It's just hard not to talk about, and I'm sure we'll do a little segment at the end that talks about kind of what's going on. But what do you feel about that Miami and Pitt game?
I definitely think Pitt covers. I could see Pitt winning just because I don't like Carson Beck on the road. One, I don't like Miami at all. In the cold, and I mean, to be honest with you, Pitt has nothing else to play for except for a good record and kind of a memorable season. And 9-3 with wins over Miami at the end of the year. And at the beginning of the year, whenever we were talking about Miami's schedule, we mentioned how they had to go on the road 3 weeks in a row. If they went to the conference championship, they would have to go on the road 3 weeks in a row and into these cold environments. I mean, Miami so far this year has been very up and down. Yeah, they've beat some teams like Virginia Tech. They beat Florida State at the time, but they don't really have a great win outside of week 1. And whenever they've gone on the road, they've struggled. I mean, they lost to SMU. Virginia Tech was more in that game than what the score shows. They kind of let Florida State come back in that game. It's just one of those scenarios that I don't like where the spot is for Miami. If Miami was playing this game in week 5, I think they win. But I think where it is and kind of what Miami's looking forward to, it's a problem spot for them. And I do think I'm picking Pitt in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's kind of where I'm at too. I guess the next big game would be Oregon at Washington. I know Washington's not ranked, but like you're going on the road. It's a 2:30 game. Washington gets extremely loud. they've already clinched a bowl game, but I think they're battling because they've kind of been underestimated all year long. And every time they get up in the top 25, they either lose or somebody does something big and they kind of get bumped back out. I think this could be a real problem for Oregon. They came off the big win last week. Dan Lanning, I don't know, man. I like Dan Lanning, but I hate Dan Lanning at the same time. Like some of the stuff he does is just very cringeworthy, but also like I get it, and it's one of those things like I'll watch a TikTok video of him talking to his team, and it'll send chills down my spine. And then other times I'll watch videos of him talking to his team, and it'll send chills down my spine. But I'm like, dang, dude, why'd you do that? Why'd you say that?
Body cringe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I do think Oregon wins this game. I don't. What's the spread on that game? Do you know, Mason?
It is 6.5 Oregon's way.
Yeah. I mean, I would just take Oregon in general. I wouldn't take the points just because like you never know what Washington's going to do. And Washington is a good offense. They kind of have a three-headed monster with their wide receiver on the outside, their quarterback, and their running back. Oregon is a team that, as an Ohio State fan, I don't want to see in the playoffs just because I think they're a lot like Ohio State was last year. They're going to be in that 8-9 spot, but they're probably a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah, I think I'm going with Oregon too. I think it's kind of similar to the Ole Miss thing. I think Oregon's they stay on schedule so well. It's hard to keep pace with them. And they control the game very well. Every Oregon game I've watched this year, it hasn't been. I mean, I know whenever a lot of people think of Oregon, think of high flying, and it has been that to an extent. But it's also been a lot of just staying on schedule, moving along, controlling the game. And I think that's how this is going to be. And I don't think Washington has enough defensively to stop that. And I think Oregon is good enough up front to beat Washington on the defensive side as well. I just think this is a controlled game by Oregon. I think they do win. And I think Washington moving forward into like next year, I think they're fine. They're young. This is like what year 2 of their head coach. This is a very good trajectory for Washington. I just don't think they're quite there. And I think next year Washington could be a real team to look out for in the Big Ten.
I agree.
Let's kind of get into this Vanderbilt-Tennessee game. And I want to preface this by saying at the beginning of the year, I said Vanderbilt was going to be like a 6-win team. I was obviously wrong. Diego Pavia kind of laid this out for us. He said that Vanderbilt was good. Vanderbilt was spending the money. Vanderbilt's the best team in Tennessee. All they got to do is, make the playoff, which they might not. If we have carnage, they could. If it's chalk this week and chalk next week, I don't see them making the playoff. But they could beat Tennessee and be the best team in Tennessee like he said they were. Right now the spread is 3.5 Tennessee's way. I do think Tennessee wins this game. I don't think Vanderbilt is I don't think Vanderbilt's there. I don't think Vanderbilt is going to go into Neyland and beat Tennessee. I think Joey Aguilar's fine. Their defense obviously kind of struggled against Oklahoma to stop John Mateer and stop just a weird offense in general. I don't think they stopped Diego Pavia, but I think Joey Aguilar is good enough to score on what I think is a very underwhelming Vanderbilt defense. Vanderbilt has like 3 good players on their offense. They don't have that on defense. And I think that's a problem for Vanderbilt. I do think Tennessee wins this game, and I think they remain the big brother in the state of Tennessee. I think both of them miss the playoff.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to say too, Mason. Okay, you don't have to actually do it. I'm just telling you, close your eyes. 20 years ago, you have this team that the whole country is talking about. They're celebrities on the sideline. They have a really good quarterback. Everybody's talking about them. They're like the darling of college football. Is Vanderbilt like the redneck version of USC 20 years ago?
To an extent, yeah. I mean, they don't have Snoop Dogg,
you have
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, you have Theo Vaughn walking around. You have Diego Pavia's mom that's grinding
on. By the way,
is
a smoke show. Justin's engaged, so he can't say it. I'll just say it. Diego Pavia's mom is hot. I mean, like real hot. I could not.
From
Whoa.
From what I understand, I haven't really watched the games, but from what I understand, is Theo Vaughn trying to slide into Diego Pavia's like mom's DM? Like I see them walking through the field together every
From
time
what I
they score.
Diego Pavia is the matchmaker in that whole situation, is what I understand from it.
And the thing is,
but
yeah, everything I see, every time they score a touchdown, which I know Diego Pavia had a crazy game last week, they were cutting to Diego Pavia's mom like it was Travis Kelce's wife, like Taylor Swift.
I'm not complaining. Like I said, sight to be seen.
But like for me, it's like, dude, I'm trying to watch college football. Like I get it, but at the same time, like, oh my gosh! And then you see her walking across the field with Theo Vaughn, and it's just like, okay, we're watching the Real Housewives of where are they located? Nashville, the Real Housewives of Nashville, and Diego Pavia is like looking at the big screen about his mom like grinding on the gates, and it's just like, I don't know, dude, it's wild. I want, as much as me and you were wrong on Vanderbilt, I do want to see Vanderbilt win just because it's like America's sweetheart. Yeah. But I will say this too, Mason. If Diego Pavia wins and he has a big game, I could see him shooting up and possibly winning the Heisman. If that kid,
and I was going to ask that question. I'm glad you said that. I was going to say if Vanderbilt wins, Diego Pavia has this crazy moment. I mean, he could win the Heisman. That's what I was going to ask you. Actually,
if that kid wins the Heisman, his life is screwed.
Oh, Johnny Manziel.
Because look what the public did to Travis Hunter last year when it came down to Travis Hunter's girlfriend and what she was doing and all that. And people were kind of talking about it a little bit before, but it was people like me and you that keep up with college football, not the nation. Once he won the Heisman, there was videos everywhere. Everybody was dogging him on his girlfriend. That, yes, that's his girlfriend and he loves her, but like that's not your mom. If Diego Pavia wins the Heisman, it's gonna. You better click out. Don't get on the internet, Diego. I'm telling you, bro, it's gonna get real bad real fast, especially because she's quote unquote maybe dating Theo Vaughn. It's gonna get real ugly real fast.
I can agree. Yeah, I do hope Vanderbilt wins. I think it would be funny. Plus, I hate Tennessee. One last big rivalry game we're going to talk about real quick because there's not really any big ones after that. I mean, Oklahoma should win against LSU.
USC will beat UCLA. Like, it's cool to watch because it's in the Rose Bowl. Yeah, it's cool to watch because it's in the Rose Bowl, but, like, they should win easily, pretty handedly. USC.
But the last one I kind of wanted to talk about to kind of close out the show is the second biggest rivalry in college football. Alabama goes to Jordan-Hare, and if you know anything about Jordan-Hare, that is the weirdest place to play a football game maybe in the entire world. We have seen so many weird Auburn moments, even when they're underwhelming. And, Auburn doesn't have a coach. Auburn's only at 5 wins. Alabama's got this chance to make the playoff. Alabama's got this chance to go to the conference championship. Alabama's got, this is a perfect setup spot for Auburn, by the way. I mean, if Jordan-Hare's voodoo is going to come into play, they're going to do their whole weird chants. They're going to say War Eagle, and it's just going to be a weird game. We saw this before 2 years ago whenever Alabama needed to beat Auburn to make it to the SEC championship, which would be Saban's last Iron Bowl. 4th and 31, they score. We've seen the kick 6, though. It's just a weird spot. With all that being said, Alabama should win. Ty Simpson's, the superior quarterback. They have the superior receivers. They have the superior offensive line. They have the superior defense. Alabama should win this game. That's who I'm going to pick. But there's a reason why this spread's at 6.5. There is. There's a reason.
I'm picking Auburn. I'm going to say it. I think
that'd be hilarious.
I think the two upsets this week, I guess it would be 3. It would be Mississippi State over Ole Miss, which is the one I'm least confident in, and then Auburn over Alabama, which is what I'm second most confident in, and then Texas over Texas A&M is the one that I would put money on it. I just think Auburn has nothing to lose, man, and it's a night game, and Alabama has enough struggles to where I don't trust. Here's the thing. Auburn has nothing to lose. I just said that. But they can literally rush 3, drop 8, let Alabama force them to run the ball, and I think it could cause real big problems for Alabama. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's definitely going to go into overtime. I would not be surprised if Alabama wins by 21, but me personally, I think Auburn wins this game, and then we're going to get into the whole thing like we did last year. Well, they should make it because they beat 4 top 25 teams and they just had a real tough schedule. So they earned the option to lose. And it's like, whatever. Like, no, you can't lose to a bad team and still go. That's kind of all I got on that game. Auburn's kind of weird right now because they're starting like 4 different quarterbacks. And last week they started a freshman, but this week they're going back to the original guy. I think the interim head coach there, which some people want him to be the main head coach, but some people don't want him to. I think he is coaching like with his hair on fire. He's letting it rip like he don't care because at the end of the day, if he loses, he's not going to keep the job regardless. So you might as well call some crazy crap. And then if you do win, you're pretty much guaranteed to keep that job.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I really would love just a nail biter pucker type of game for Alabama. I just love the Iron Bowl. That's all I got for rivalry games to kind of go over. Do we want to talk about coaching searches? I mean,
we can. It's up to you. I don't really care if we do. We can wait and save that for next week since the only thing we have next week is, I think, Army-Navy. The only other game that I will bring up, and I know there's some big games. There's some big games in that 2:30 spot. You kind of have – where's the 2:30 slot at? You have Washington versus Oregon, Tennessee versus Vanderbilt. Those are big games at that 2:30 spot. A game that I would kind of watch out for and just look at. I'm not saying turn it on and watch it, but if you have the opportunity, if both of the games, Washington, Oregon, and Tennessee, Vanderbilt are blowouts, Penn State plays Rutgers. It's at Rutgers, but those are 2 teams they're both 5-6, so they're both playing for a bowl game. That is like their Super Bowl to make it to a bowl game. I'm not saying they're like super talented teams and you're going to have fun watching. I'm just saying it could be a very close game. And there's purpose in that game. There's a reason for them to want to win on both sides. So if you're bored watching, the Oregon Washington or the Tennessee Vanderbilt game, there's another game that I see that I might turn on if I'm not crying in a closet in my house.
Well, either way, I'm gonna love this weekend.
Dude, it's gonna be nuts.
Great Thanksgiving, guys. We would really appreciate it if you like the video, if you subscribe, if you share it, whatever you got to do. We would appreciate whatever you are. We're very thankful for the people that do watch. We're very thankful for this opportunity just to be able to put our opinions out there and talk about the one thing that keeps me going every year.
For sure.
I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. We will see you, Sunday? Are we doing a Sunday show? I guess we got to. We got to do a Sunday show.
Yeah.
It's the biggest week.
We can't not do a Sunday show. And just get ready. I know Mason, he gets his daughter on Sunday, but if Mason's got to go and I'm still ranting, I might stay on here for 2 hours. I don't know. You never know.
But yeah, guys, we appreciate it, and we will see y'all Sunday.